I just always wanted to study meteorology from when I was a little boy. I was 5 or 6 years old, and I would be mesmerized by the weather forecast, watching the Weather Channel, specifically during hurricane season. I would always be following it, watch every tropical update on the 20s and the 50s, and I would even go to the weather websites, Unisys, NOAA, and I'd see all those, and I would be constantly tracking the storms myself, seeing how the tracks were accurate or inaccurate, or even looking at obscure weather events happening all over the country. And I just started to become a part of me. And for me, it was always that connection. It was something that I could look outside and I could be part of. I could understand it. I could feel it. And having been exposed to this, I grew up in a place where there were cold winters. So I was also exposed to the fact that there were negative parts of the winter, such as fatalities from people freezing. And so I always was interested in trying to help people through the weather. And now it's more of wanting to develop new methods so that the weather forecasters can better help the people so that they don't get harmed by the weather. I've worked on lots of different papers that were of my own design since I started here, but the one that I think that was the most fun was the one I did from a mesoscale meteorology class this past spring, where we were allowed to pick a topic, and as long as it related to the scope of the course, we were allowed to proceed on it. It had to meet certain guidelines, and we got to do a presentation on it. And I spent all semester working on it. I actually started working on it 2 months earlier than the professor recommended. And it was well worth it, because in the end, my professor said, you need to show this to your other professors, because I think it should be published. So it gave me that experience of, yeah, I can do this on my own as well. If I have somebody to guide me, someone to give the advice, and then I can make my own trails, as well as work with another professor through a course like I've done with Dr. Mall. And you can carve your own path and make your own name within the field of your choice before you've even graduated. I hope to be involved in developing either new models or new forecasting techniques, particularly here in Central Florida, where the weather can be very unpredictable. Sometimes you'll see a forecast and even the NWS office can't explain it because there's just too many variables, especially here because you have to worry about coastlines, temperatures, the lakes, and so many minute differences. And I want to see if it's possible a way to make them better at doing that, so that the people can have better warning ahead of these storms, especially during the summer months.